Today we will talk about cells again, but instead of talking about what is inside of a cell, we will talk about how a cell actually divides. You are a multicellular organism, which means that you have more than one cell. To be precise, you have around 100 trillion cells and 20,000 different types of cells. And so, obviously, cells need to divide. You began as one cell, and that was called the zygote. And then that zygote multiplied and multiplied through about 50 rounds of multiplication and became you. That is what we will talk about today. So to begin, how do cells divide? Well, there's two ways to do it. The first way is called mitosis. This is how we make cells in our body. So for example, if you were to cut yourself on a sharp piece of glass, to heal that wound, you would use mitosis. If you were to exercise and break down the muscle fibers in your muscles, you would grow new muscles using mitosis. Mitosis is anything that has to do with the body. Meiosis is the second method in which we are not making body cells but sex cells. For humans, those sex cells include sperm and egg. So first question, which of these two processes is responsible for body cell division? Is it mitosis or meiosis? Second question, how do sex cells divide? How do we make sperm or eggs? Let's talk about sex cells and body cells. There are two basic types of cells in the body, with two types of division that we just talked about. The following two slides will show the difference between these two types of cells. First, we have somatic cells. The way I remember them is somatic sounds like so many. So many somatic cells. There are 20,000 different types of somatic cells, and about 100 trillion of them that make your entire body. There are, for example, brain cells. They are very different from skin cells, which are very different than heart cells, gut cells, blood cells, muscle cells, liver cells. The list goes on and on. These cells are made through mitosis. There's something else about these cells that we should remember. They have two sets of information. They are diploid. Diploid means there are two copies for every gene. Genes are segments of DNA which code for traits. You inherit them from your parents. The reason why diploids have two sets is because they got one from each parent. You have one N from your mom and one N from your dad. This makes your somatic cells 2N, two sets of DNA. Let's compare that to gametes. Gametes are sex cells, and they are made through meiosis instead of mitosis. We call these gametes, and we say that they are haploid, 1N. As stated before, your parents give you one set of DNA each, making your body cells 2N. To achieve this, they must make 1N sperm and 1N eggs. This process is called meiosis, and it reduces the amount of genes in each cell to 1N from 2. So remember, somatic cells are diploid, having 2 sets of DNA, while gametes are haploid, having only 1 set of DNA. This is because 1 plus 1 must equal 2, which equals you. Time for some review questions. Which type of cell has 2 sets of DNA? Is it somatic cells or gametes? Next question. Which type of cell division creates gametes? Next question. Muscle cells are created through which type of cell division? Another question. Which type of cell is diploid? We will now talk about somatic cells and how they divide. As mentioned before, this process is called mitosis. Mitosis divides one somatic cell, so many, into 2 identical somatic cells. We call these daughter cells. The original somatic cell is called the parent cell. The 2 resulting cells are called daughter cells. This is a step-by-step process that begins in interphase, moves into prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase, and ends with cytokinesis, the division of those 2 cells. Let's compare that to meiosis, in which we have 1 parent cell that results in 4 daughter cells. Another big difference is that these 4 daughter cells are not identical to the parent. Instead, they are unique in the genes that they contain. And so, mitosis results in 2 identical daughter cells, whereas meiosis results in 4 unidentical daughter cells. First review question. Which type of division results in identical daughter cells? Next question. Which of the following is a result of meiosis? That is all for now. In the next lecture, we will cover the individual stages of mitosis in more detail.